Okay, welcome guys. So today I thought it'd be good to go through exactly how you're tested and graded and marked in all of GCSE Maths. So this video is actually suited for every single exam board and every single tier because this comes straight from Ofqual. So if you don't know what Ofqual is, it's basically the leader of all of the exam boards. They set the regulations and set the guidelines, okay? So every exam board follows this exact breakdown and these exact scenarios, okay? So literally whatever exam board you're looking at, this is what they do. So first of all, there are 3 assessment objectives, okay? So that for assessment objective number 1, it's simply using and applying standard techniques. So this involves your kind of basic arithmetic. So for example, taking percentages of numbers, adding numbers, dividing them, using ratios as well. So if they say share £100 in the ratio of 3 to 1, etc. That's assessment objective number 1, so simply being able to do maths, so to speak, and numeracy. Now, assessment objective 2 is about reasoning, interpretation, and communicating mathematically. So this essentially is just show that questions and like show that she's wrong or prove that this algebraic expression is true, something along those lines, okay? And again, assessing validity of an argument. So it might say, Sally says this, evaluate whether she's right or wrong, or she is wrong, give a reason why. And lastly, and this is the most complicated one, is solving problems with maths in other contexts. So this is where, for example, they may say something like, Jack and Jill play 100 games of Snakes and Ladders, for argument's sake. Jake wins 3 times as many games as Jill. How many games does Jill win? So the idea here is that they've given you no maths, you have to translate it into maths. So again, 3 times as many, you should translate it into a ratio first and then work from there, okay? So that's the kind of breakdown of the types of questions you can get. And what we have next is exactly what the weighting is for foundation and higher. So with foundation, so if you have a look at these, with foundation, there's a slightly greater emphasis, about 10% more emphasis on assessment objective 1. So being able to use maths, so again, division, subtraction, percentages, ratios, etc. And with higher, honestly, they're very similar to each other. However, there is a bit more of an even distribution, but a bit more of a focus on applying mathematics and also being able to prove and justify things using mathematics. So now the next thing, which is probably the most interesting to you, is there are 6 topics in maths, okay? There are only 6. Okay, there's numeracy, so just numbers, algebra, ratios, geometry, statistics, and probability, and that is true for all exam boards. And between the exam boards, here is exactly how it's broken down. So again, look at your tier and let's have a look. So again, with foundation, numbers takes up a bigger percentage of what they're going to be doing, okay? And with higher, it's going to be slightly less, and there's going to be a lot more focus on algebra. Okay, because algebra is going to be used if you decide to go on to do further maths at A level or just maths at A level. And again, with science, etc., algebra is a very, very key topic, but it is definitely the biggest percentage here. Then with ratios, foundation do actually more ratios than higher, which again you might be kind of surprised at. But again, the higher questions are going to be more reasoning questions and proofs, whereas with foundation, it's going to be more about dividing into ratios and turning things into ratios, okay? So keep in mind, even though it's a greater percentage, the application is slightly different based on the assessment objectives, which is why I showed them at the beginning, because they are quite useful. And again, with geometry, fairly similar, and then with statistics and probability, it's actually identical, which I thought was quite interesting when Ofqual went through this with me. Again, it's kind of attacked on subject. It's just anything with like stem and leaf diagrams and percentages, etc. is added on the end. So I hope this gives you a kind of better idea of exactly what the breakdown is. If you save this, screenshot it or whatever, you can at least go through and see exactly what you need to know. So these percentages, just for you guys, so you guys are aware, it's the percentage of marks, right? So 15% of your marks across all 3 papers. So again, it doesn't mean 15% of paper 1 is going to be statistics, 15% of paper 2 and 15% of paper 3. It's just overall, across all 3 papers, these are the percentage breakdowns. So for example, with the higher tier, if you did no statistics and probability, you will only lose 15% of the total marks, okay? And again, sometimes they mix the questions, right? So part A may be a algebra expression, then part B might be a probability expression, right? We've seen things like that before in our lessons. So again, just a quick video just to make you guys aware that exists, and every single exam board does stick to this. They have to by law.